Y'all, welcome back. Today I'm gonna do a quick walkthrough on this project I've been working on. I've made some YouTube shorts on a 2005 Ford F-150 with the 5.4 liter 3-valve Triton, doing a timing chain job. And I kind of want to walk you through what I believe is the cascade of failures that has occurred and what has caused a lot of this. Stand by. All right, I'm not a professional mechanic. I'm just a guy that turns wrenches and tinkers with things. But here's my theory. So, on the very start of this, we have a timing chain tensioner that has a blown seal. So when that happens, when you turn the engine off, the tensioner loses tension due to a drop in oil pressure. So that on startup, on a cold startup, your timing chain, which this is all on the passenger side, will rattle around for a few seconds. And as it does that, I'll show you what happens. But anyway, on these, as a side note, if you have that noise, again on startup, it rattles pretty loud for a few seconds. You need to really look into it and get it dealt with. So let's go to the next step. So again, that chain will rattle for a few seconds upon cold startup. And as you can see, this is the front engine cover or timing chain cover. As you can see, it'll start eating into the aluminum cover. Like, this is pretty severe. We let this go on for probably 3 months or so. It's my son's truck, and we let it go on too long, but it's really ate into the aluminum there. And when it does that, it drops down into the oil pan. So after it drops down into the oil pan, along with, as you can see, we're supposed to have another timing chain guard or guide like this. That's down in that's down in the oil pan right now. So anyway, that aluminum from the engine cover falls down into your oil pan, and believe it or not, it floats around a little bit until your oil pump picks it up through the oil pump pickup tube. And the oil pump here, this is a factory Ford, the original, it'll pick those aluminum shavings up and even some of the plastic particles, and you'll start having these grooves in your oil pump and on your impeller. See how that's all grooved and nasty looking? So there's your back plate. You can really see the grooves there. So once those grooves occur on top of a default or a faulty design with this aluminum backing plate, your oil pump loses pressure and volume. And then when that happens, that'll automatically cause, again, some other faulty stuff. These cam phasers, or what I've heard anyway, they're prone to go out. Low oil pressure, low volume will cause your cam phasers to start failing. That's where you'll get the constant ticking, especially at idle, poor engine performance and things. But on the bigger end of things, with that low oil pressure, low volume, you're going to start starving certain areas of the engine, especially your top end. So here's one of the camshafts. If you can see, you have grooves in your journals here. You can see those grooves. So that's the one cam. Of course, the other cam, same thing. You have grooves all in there. And then that translates also to your caps here that'll go on top of your cam. Can you see the grooves? And unfortunately, the way this engine's designed is the cam sits directly on the cam saddles, which are part of the head. So from my understanding, you can't even replace the caps. If this happens and you really want to do it properly, you need to replace the head, especially if there's damage on the head. Because again, you just can't buy caps, because the caps are machined with a head. They're line bored to the specs of the cam journal. So all that happens. So one of the things I also did is I went on and took one of the rods loose, connecting rod caps, to look for wear down there. And the one journal I checked is perfectly fine, especially for a 150,000 mile motor. Of course, I learned that those are torque to yield bolts on the rod caps. I had to pick these up from Ford, pack of 4. They say don't reuse them. Probably could, but anyway, doing a complete timing chain job. It's going to replace timing chains, obviously timing chain tensioners, cam phasers. New cam phasers are going. I may buy roller followers possibly. I'm going to try to use some emery cloth without reducing much of the metal, because you don't want to have too much of a clearance on here or you'll really lose oil pressure. I'm going to try to clean that up, and I'm going to try to put this motor just back together like it is, I do believe. And the other solution is buying a milling pump, which is a better version than Ford's. It comes with a cast iron backing plate, and I don't think I mentioned earlier, but on the factory Ford, this aluminum backing plate on top of the grooves that are in here, even if those weren't there, this plate is known to flex, which causes a reduction, because oil seeps out, a reduction in pressure and volume as it is. So all millings for this pump have the cast iron backing plate, and I chose to buy the milling M360 HV. The 360 would be high pressure. The milling M340 would be standard pressure like the factory Ford. And then the HV, both the milling M340 and the milling M360, if they're listed as HV, that's high volume. So I'm hoping this will help this engine survive for a little while. Like I say, it's my son's. He's about to graduate, so as soon as he gets out and gets him a better paying job, he can go ahead and get himself another vehicle if he chooses. But anyway, that's where we're at. That's my theory. Again, I'm not a professional Ford mechanic, but I believe that's what happened. So anywho, if I can just stress, take it for what it's worth. If your Ford Triton style motor is making noises, especially on startup, that severe clattering, and you'll hear it, it's not something that's you got to really listen for. It's obvious. Get some, if you can't do it yourself, have it sent down to your local mechanic and get that front end taken apart so you can check those timing chain tensioners, because like I say, it won't take long before it starts eating into that timing chain cover, and then you'll still have a plethora of other engine problems. So thanks for watching Texas Patriot Off-Road and Outdoors.